You think you're procrastinating, so you're beating yourself up about it. But what if I told you procrastination might not actually be laziness at all? What if it's a signal, a strategic pause showing you something important about how you work, what you want, or even who you are? Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down how to transform procrastination from your biggest shame into your greatest strategy. And I'll show you the exact tools I use, plus a client story that will help you see procrastination in a completely new way. And if you're anything like me, your head is never quiet. It's flooded with ideas, options, things you forgot to do yesterday, things you'll need to do in months from now. So no wonder you're distracted. But instead of fighting it, I found a way to work with it. Here's the first reframe you need. Based on my own experiences and work I've done with my clients, I found that procrastination is often an overestimation problem. We expect ourselves to get 10 big things done in one day, and then we feel disappointed when we only manage to do 3 of them. There's actually a book that challenged my thinking on this overestimation thing, and it's called Make Time by Jake Knapp. And what he talks about is, instead of chasing multiple things to do in a day, you just pick one daily highlight. That highlight is the single thing that, if you get it done, your day would feel worthwhile. Here's how I explain it to clients. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's the gap that exists between your ideals and your reality. And here's what I mean by that. You might set an ideal that's sky high. Usually, you don't even realize you've done this. And that ideal could be to produce some flawless work, or to really impress someone important with that work. But then you look at the messy, real life steps in front of you that you have to take to get there. And that gap between the ideal and the reality creates unease. And unease breeds avoidance. You stall, you put it off, not because you don't care, but because caring too much makes the task feel too heavy to even start. And this is why I say procrastination is also an issue of attunement. I'll share more on that in a moment. But if you're not attuned to your actual energy, your capacity and season, you'll also try to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. So everything feels heavier than it needs to. That mismatch also creates unease. And that unease, like I said, creates procrastination. It's like planting summer seeds in winter. Nothing will grow. Once I understood this gap, I started noticing a pattern in myself. For me, timing became key. Everything has a season. Everything. Ecclesiastes 3 literally says there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And this is where attunement comes in. Attunement, the way I use it in this context, is about paying accurate attention to yourself, your immediate environment, and even the broader world around you, so that you can recognize your real energy, your real capacity, and the season you're in, as well as the opportunities that will actually work right now. When you're attuned, you know whether today is a planting day, a resting day, or a harvesting day. When you're not attuned, you will try to force something that's out of sync. And that's when procrastination can show up too. Not as laziness, but as friction. Because sometimes the reason I procrastinate on a task is because it's not in season yet. It's not right. I used to panic about this and feel like I'd get behind. But now I see it as a signal and I make peace with it. But because my brain is like a traffic jam, like I said earlier, a traffic jam of thoughts, I started carrying what I call a dump list everywhere. It's not a to-do list, it's a get it out of my head before it distracts me list. There's no expectation to execute anything on the list. It's just a way to clear my mental clutter so that I can focus on what's actually in season for me that day. Because for me, a dump list is energy management. Carrying 20 unactioned thoughts is heavier than doing them. And they're taking up prime real estate in my mind too. So not every idea is for today. Some belong in a dump list so that your brain can breathe. But sometimes procrastination isn't about overestimation. It's not about lack of attunement or even brain clutter. Sometimes procrastination is about misalignment with the thing that makes it meaningful for you. So you're pushing against something that doesn't belong to your values in the first place. And to be honest, there's no productivity hack that will fix that. You need to go back to your foundation, your values, because without that, procrastination isn't a pause, it's resistance. Sometimes procrastination isn't saying work harder, it's saying stop and choose differently. And if that resonates, I've made a whole video on values, so I'll link it below. But for now, let me show you what alignment can actually look like in practice. So one of my clients was procrastinating heavily on writing this big proposal for a client, and she really wanted to win that work, but she kept stalling and feeling overwhelmed by the pressure to make it perfect. Instead of treating procrastination as the enemy, I asked her to treat it as a strategic pause. I guided her through 4 key questions. The first was, what's the joy in this task for you? The second was, why do you actually want to do it? Why? The third, over a 2-week period, I asked her to observe, when do you naturally have the energy and motivation for this task? And finally, what outcome do you truly desire? Her answers gave her a renewed focus that the pressure had made her lose. The joy for her was exploring the client's problem. The why was building a new relationship with the client and expanding her visibility with potential customers. Her natural rhythm turned out to be 45-minute bursts on Wednesday mornings, plus a surprising sort of late night flow at around 9 p.m. Weekends were absolutely out of the question. And the real outcome she wanted wasn't a perfect looking proposal. It turned out it was her client's delight in seeing how her solution solved their problem. So here's what we did. Every Wednesday, we started specifically with activities around the problem-solution connection, which included how could she create delight for her customer in seeing that link, that connection that we spoke about? And how could she weave in visibility and relationship building with the client through the proposal journey, whether she won the work or not? This simplified her priorities. It re-anchored her in what mattered most to her and gave her back her focus and alignment. And this brings me to a concept you've probably heard before. It's called eat the frog first. And the idea is to do the one thing you dislike most at the start of the day. But I disagree. Why begin with the hardest, most off-putting part? That only builds resistance and fuels procrastination. My take is to build momentum. Build momentum by starting with the part that brings you alive first. For her, that was mapping the problem-solution connection. That spark gave her momentum. And once she had momentum, the rest flowed. So here's your challenge. Next time you catch yourself procrastinating, don't label it as a failure. Pause and ask yourself, have I overestimated what today can hold? Is this task just out of season right now? Do I need to clear some brain clutter first? Or am I misaligned altogether? So here's my question for you. Please do share your responses in the comment section below because I'd love to read them. The question is, if procrastination is a strategic pause, what is it trying to attune you to right now? Is it your timing, your energy, or your values? Because when you listen, procrastination becomes a compass, not a curse. I can't wait to see you in my next video. Until then, remember, stop apologizing, start strategizing.